All right, here we go. Brand new Flyers Daily for Friday, November 8th. Flyers Daily, as always, presented by Ticketmaster. Make more memories live. Flyers coming off a 2-1 shootout win against the Tampa Bay Lightning. First of all, what planet am I living on? Why? Well, the Flyers have been in 2 shootout games so far this season, and they've won them both. Opening night in Vancouver, they got a shootout win. And last night, they get a shootout win over Andrei Vasilevskiy. They deny him his 300th NHL win. Vasi, he's going to the Hall of Fame. He was on his game last night, too. They deny him win 300. He would have been the fastest goaltender. He will still be the fastest goaltender to get to 300 wins in NHL history. And Fedotov earns, big-time earns, his first NHL win. And the Flyers do something they've done 3 other times this season. Score 2 goals or less in regulation and get a win. So when did that happen prior? Well, opening night, they scored 2 goals in regulation against Vancouver. They won the game 3-2 in the shootout. In the game in Boston on October 29th, 2 days before Halloween, they won 2-0 in Boston. Then they won 2-1 back home against St. Louis. And then they won 2-1 last night in the shootout against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, that's not a recipe you want to live by all year. Winning those very small, zero margin for error type games with just being able to score 2 goals and still get a win is a rarity, and it will be a rarity. The fact that they have, 4 of those already is astonishing, but they'll take it. They'll take them however they can get them right now. And this was not scoring 1 goal in regulation and getting the second in the shootout as a result of not having chances. Going into the game, they had 6 periods where they had 3 shots on goal in a period. They go into this game last night, they outshoot Tampa handily. They played way more in the offensive zone. They end up with 32 shots on goal to Tampa's 24. They win the face-off battle. The details of the game were there. They didn't let a bad goal allowed in the final minute of the first period derail them and send them into a tailspin in what's been their most miserable period of the season, the second. Their goal differential in the second period is like minus 13. They don't give up anything in the second period of this game. Granted, they didn't get anything in the second period of the game, but they didn't give up anything. And they go into the third period. Again, another rarity to get a win when you go into the third period trailing. And they get one here. So, real good performance last night by a couple of guys. A guy I talked about in yesterday's episode that I was going to focus on, Owen Tippett. We were wondering if that goal on Tuesday, that absolute snipe over Pyotr Kucherov, would unleash him a little bit. Well, when Owen Tippett is confident, he tries things. He's got creativity, and he's got commitment to execution. And that's exactly what we saw on the game-tying goal at 15:44 of the third, where he goes bar down backhand on Vasilevskiy, who goes down into RVH too quickly and gets the game tied. But let's go back to the first period first. Let's go back to the Nikita Kucherov goal. Because my Twitter blew up. Kolosov obviously couldn't go, got injured this morning or yesterday morning at the morning skate. So, boom, Fedotov gets pressed into action. He knew all day he was going to play. Some people made a bigger deal about the fact that he didn't know he was playing in this game. Who cares? He knew he was going to play from the morning skate on. So he went through his routine to prepare for the game. But he played a really solid first period until the goal that Nikita Kucherov scored at 19:15. Now, this play, I even brought my whiteboard for this. Oh, I do have a dry erase marker as well. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see what I'm drawing up, but I'll explain it as best I can as well. Nikita Kucherov is coming through the neutral zone. And he's kind of coming through. So this is Fedotov here. That's the Flyers' goal. And he's kind of coming through the neutral zone. He's kind of like diddly-dallying around, coming through the neutral zone. That's what he does. He just kind of like kind of sauntering through. Rasmus Ristolainen is here. Sean Couturier is here because Nick Seeler had a wraparound attempt down here prior, and Couturier as F3 covered back for him, and then he drops back into a defensive posture, which is good coverage. It's good systematic hockey. So, as Kucherov is now coming into the Flyer zone, it's a 1v2. So you have the 2 defenders here, and Kucherov's coming up. Nobody really trailing the play. There's no threats back there or anything like that. And again, here's Fedotov. And as the play converges down to the left side, and he starts to take it wide, Well, Ristolainen kind of jumps up a little bit, and because Kucherov plays the game at such slow speed sometimes, a little burst can really get a defender on his heels. He's a quick twitch player. So he gets Ristolainen to bite a little early, and now he's got Ristolainen defending him while Ristolainen is facing the end boards. Couturier is converging on him, also facing the end boards. So neither player is backing up and gapping with Kucherov as he's coming up here. Now Kucherov is a left-hand shot, so the stick is on the outside, and Fedotov is here, angling it. But Fedotov comes way out, goes down to his butterfly early, playing shot. Now, if Ristolainen was just backing up with him and not alongside him facing the end boards, he could have just rode him off into the end boards, rode him off the play. But because Kucherov now has about a half a step, he decides not to take the shot because he sees Fedotov all the way out here. There's no net there to get it by him. And Fedotov is down in his butterfly. So what does Kucherov do? He swings around the net for the wraparound. Couturier is over here, goes to get the wraparound. His stick ends up here to take it away, and boom, it's in the back of the net. It's an overcommitment. You see Fedotov is all the way over here, down and sprawled out, and that whole net's open. Now, even if, let's get rid of that, even if you get your two defenders, he comes down and goes around and comes out the other side, and he committed that far and is out of the play over here, even if another forward is coming down the ice for Tampa and he just centers it, it's a wide open net. He's not going to get there. Well, that's a crooked shot. He's not going to get there because he totally overcommitted on a dead angle shot. So now why did he do it? I think that there's something in his head where he's still trying to figure out, and I think part of this is coaching, telling him in certain situations you need to take more ice, and other situations you need to take less. He's still looking down at his feet a lot. He does it at faceoffs in the D zone. That's not a big deal because every goalie goes through a ritual when they set up for a faceoff. They want to put their feet on the edges of the crease in a certain way, whether it's the right dot or the left dot, and they'll look down at it. Some goalies look down at their feet to see where they are. Others get their glove and just tap the post, or grab their stick and just hit the butt end against the post to see where they are. Lots of goalies do it. They're constantly feeling the net. Like, it almost looks like they're having like a mental breakdown because they think it's gone, and they just keep hitting it. They keep touching the post to make sure it's still there, like it's going to grow legs and walk out of there. But that's just, you just want to know, okay, everything's where it's supposed to be at all times. That's probably what he's doing there. But I think that they're trying to teach him, because he's been burnt deep in his net a few times, being back here, where now you see me, there's tons of net, my background's the net, versus up here, where all of a sudden there's less net to see. So they're trying to play with his depth to get him to the right spots, because that's been an issue in his game. And I think that he over-corrected on the Kucherov goal, taking too much ice and over-committing, and he's got to learn from that. But the way he responded to it after it goes in is all that matters. And I would tell you, letting up a goal in the last minute of a period like that, when your team played really well in front of you, can melt the goalie down. And melt a goalie down who hasn't had NHL success yet, like Fedotov. But he battled. He battled the rest of the game. And albeit it wasn't pretty at times for him in that game, it was effective. He played really, really well. I am happy for him. If he can become an option, that helps. This just helps. So, good on Ivan Fedotov and the performance that he had. Okay, back to Tippett. Tippett scores the goal, the backhand. Konechny assists. He's got his 15th point of the season, does Konechny. And the Flyers get it to overtime. Good chances at both ends in overtime. Really good opportunities. Both goalies played incredibly well. Then we go to the shootout. And I still have NHL shootout PTSD skills competition baloney. Conclaves goes, Fedotov, he looked totally cool in the shootout. Like, was just like, all right, pad save on Conclaves. So Tampa shoots first, they don't score. Konechny goes down, and you want to see what confidence looks like in a goal scorer? Watch the shootout attempt from Travis Konechny. It is supreme confidence, and here's why. He goes down, I think his heart rate was 55 beats per minute. He wasn't sweating anything. He was just chill. Sauntering down, coming in off the right side to the left, right-hand shot, goes down, gets in tight, gets Vasilevsky to commit, and just flips it into the net. Now, some people go, oh, kind of a cocky flip. No. That ain't cocky. That was confident. I'll get to this other part in a second. So that puts the Flyers up 1-0. Then the second shooter is Victor Hedman, which I was pretty stunned at. Victor Hedman goes in on Ivan Fedorov. Boom. Just head down on a nice blocker save. Now the Flyers have a chance to win it in the shootout if Owen Tippett can score and not even going 3 shooters deep. So Tippett goes in on the shootout. He ends up beating Vasilevsky. Where'd he beat him? Just over the glove. Different type of, came in on a different angle than Konechny. Konechny came in right to his left. Owen Tippett kind of comes straight on slightly to the right. But they both did the same thing to Vasilevsky. They waited him out, and when he committed into his butterfly, they went high glove, which leads me to believe there's a pre-scout on Andrei Vasilevsky that says in the shootout, he will commit to butterfly because he's a big goalie and can bank on it, but he will commit to butterfly deep in his net and leave you some space high glove. Put yourself in a position to exploit it. And that's what both shooters did. Now, I don't know if that's part of the pre-scout. I'm assuming it is, but I will find out. I will ask about it. Matter of fact, they're not in town until March. But Franz Jean is their goaltending coach, who I tend to have quite a bit of conversations with when Tampa comes into town. So he probably won't give me the right answer, but I will find it from someone else. To me, that looks like pre-scout. So great win for the Flyers to look to wrap up the road trip in style with a team, the reigning Stanley Cup champion, Florida Panthers, on Saturday. A team that they beat in Florida, in Sunrise last year, twice. And guess what the score of both of those games were when they beat them in Florida? 2-1. Boy, that seems like a number that's getting thrown around a lot lately, isn't it? So that'll be Saturday at 6 o'clock, and we'll see if the Flyers can come away with a 2-1 road trip down in Florida and Carolina. All right, one other thing I want to get to here is the obvious big storyline, the healthy scratch of Matvei Michkov. And I know that, and predictably so, social media, Twitter, X, whatever you call it, melted down at the scratch. And I read through a lot of it. I stay out of it now. I try and look at X for the most part as for promotional purposes only. I don't let it drive me crazy anymore. And I know some people are going to disagree with my opinion on this, and that's totally cool. Totally cool. And I respect if you disagree wholeheartedly, you think my opinion on this is idiotic. And I know some people will go, you're just a honk for the team, or you're just an apologist. You agree with everything they do. That, first of all, I don't agree with everything they do. And if he scratched on Saturday, I would not agree with that. I don't know if he will be coming off a win. But I don't think it's nearly the big deal that people are making it out to be. I know that he's a future star. And some people think that, well, you just got to play him, got to play through it. Well, I think that's utter and total BS to just play through it. This guy has not played more than 50 hockey games in a season in his life. And I can assure you he's not played this many hockey games that he's played already this year against the biggest, the strongest, the best, the most skilled hockey players on the planet. And there's an attrition that comes with that. And I think that Matvei Michkov, because of his, and this is a good thing, because of how competitive he is, that he doesn't know how to pace himself. And I'm not saying take plays off or anything like that, but he can emotionally spill it. And it looks like he's a little emotionally spent right now. I don't know if he's physically spent. We're early in a season, so I'm not going to go there. But he is making some mental errors. And when you get frustrated as a player that's had your way at every other level, you force things. And that's why you let him just take a break for a night. Leo Carlsson last year played 55 games. It is of my belief that there are certain players, like you have the very creme de la creme, the cream of the crop of 18-year-old NHL draftees that come right out of the draft and can play 82 games. It's very rare. Austin Matthews, Connor Bedard didn't because he got hurt. But Connor McDavid, you don't see it very often. You see it more like players like Leo Carlsson or Matvei Michkov, where there's an integration process that'll be there. And I don't think this is the last time he'll be scratched this year. I don't think it's punitive. Now, is it rewarding him to scratch him? Hell no. It's not a reward to scratch them, but it's not punitive at the same time. So it's my belief that players that play over in Europe, whether they're Swedish, Russian, Belarusian, whatever, they have different rules than the CHL players have, and obviously collegiate players as well. So some of those players are where I think Michkov is, or Leo Carlsson was, that they're probably too good to play in that league to really get a developmental boon out of it. But they're not playing in the AHL doesn't do them much good either. But giving them NHL time, but managing it is the best way to develop them. When they look a little overwhelmed and they look like maybe they're forcing things, maybe take a step back for a night and take the long play. I don't think that's a bad thing. And I know people could just freak out about it. This mentality of, well, just play the kids. Well, this is the most unforgiving hockey league on the planet. And you can ruin guys by just shoving them out there and say, figure it out. Against grown men when you're 19, you barely got hair under your armpits. And you're going out there and you got to deal with these animals. Game in, game out, 82 games a year. 4 games in 6 days, 5 games in 7 days. These guys never played that before. There's a process of learning how to handle that schedule as an NHL player too. How to effectively change your post-recovery. How to effectively change your routine in preparation for games. Your sleep, your diet, all of these things. All part of this process. These players at this level are so dialed in that all of those little tiny things that didn't matter for us when we played sports matter for them. Because it's like pro golfers. Like the difference between the number 1 golfer in the world and the 200 golfer in the world is about 0.12 of a stroke for 18 holes. It's so granular. And I see a lot of comments, well, Torts has lost a team. You can see he's lost a team. There's, first of all, did you watch last night's game? If you think he has lost a team, do you think a team would have gone out and done what they did last night and performed like that if the coach lost the team? And the other thing is, I've never seen a coach lose a team and have a power play or a penalty kill that's as good as the Flyers. Never. Because the penalty kill ain't glorious, and it's all about will. It's not about skill. And if a coach loses a team, they usually suck out loud on the penalty kill. He hasn't lost the team. And I'll leave you with this. And I'm a firm believer in this. I've talked to Torts about this. Accountability is either for everyone or it is for no one. The captain, 10 days after he was scratched, or after he was named the captain last year, was healthy scratched. Kevin Hayes was healthy scratched the year prior. Travis Konechny's been benched. Joel Farabee's been benched. Nobody has not been benched. So accountability is either for everybody or it's for nobody. And doesn't mean you hold everybody to the same production standards. I don't expect a guy like Bobby Brink to be held to the standard of production as Travis Konechny. I have a different production expectation for everyone based on where they are in their career, their skill set, all of that stuff. But you have to have that accountability, because if you're going to just keep pointing it out in the film room, in the team meetings, that some wrong things are being done or forcing plays and it's becoming costly and not doing anything about it, then the whole team's going, well, this accountability thing's baloney. So it's either for all of us or for none of us. So we got to make a decision. Is it for Matvei Michkov, Sean Couturier, Travis Konechny, Joel Farabee, and everyone else? Or is it just for a couple of guys that it's easy to have accountability with? Accountability is for everybody or it's for no one. No one. So we'll see where it goes from here. We'll see if Matvei's back in the lineup on Saturday. I suspect he will be. Wasn't like, yeah, they got to win. It wasn't like they went out there and boat raced the Tampa Bay Lightning, but they got to win. That's a good thing. We'll talk about Saturday's game on Monday's episode with Bill Meltzer, And we'll recap the road trip and look ahead to the next 5 of 7 games or 7 of 9 games for the Flyers will be at home, basically to round out the month of November all the way through Black Friday and one day beyond. So join us coming up Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Join us Monday for a brand new Flyers Daily.